Friday. Been a little MIA, went out of town last week. And, the times have been tough and heavy for everyone. Life is challenging for everybody. I don't care how good you got it. I don't care how bad you got it. We all got our own challenges. We're all trying to figure out this rat race called life. And sometimes I'm just not able to show up. And not that I need to explain myself, but just because this is a place for me to be vulnerable and open and honest and try to focus on healing. And I've done a few videos recently that I feel, I won't say are necessarily divisive, but you can't even have an opinion these days without being divisive. Let's just keep it real. So I did want to hop on. I'm pretty tired today. I'm actually feeling a lot better compared to how I've been feeling over the past several weeks that I've done videos. I feel a little less run down. Let me turn my AC down so it's not overpowering. I went out of town on Thursday, and sorry, there's like road construction over here. I don't know what they're doing. They have a big truck with a big dump thing on it. I guess they're laying like cones, not cones, but barrels. Some barrel laying truck. Anyway, barrel placing. So I went out of town, tried to get away, away from all the normal hustle and bustle and whatever, what have yous. Everything was going fairly well. I was having a good time, having good experiences. We left Thursday night. We came back Sunday, like mid-morning. I woke up Sunday morning and was trying to manage my dogs who were irritating each other. And when I propped up on my right elbow to lean over the bed while I was asleep and be like, meh, 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 bad dogs, behave, my head started whoop, whoop, whoop. Like, I felt like I was on a merry-go-round or a roller coaster, and I immediately had to lay back and shut my eyes, and I was still in the motion, even though I was laying there still with my eyes shut. And I was like, look, you know what I mean? And noticing that like it was hard to get up. Like I felt like I was drunk or something, you know what I mean? Like couldn't get up really that well, couldn't walk that well. I was having to brace myself constantly. Even when I would be standing, I would feel my weight like either shifting like left or right, or like especially forward, and not being able to control or stop it. And it was a little bit concerning. My first thought was like, well, maybe I'm dehydrated because I know I haven't really been drinking that many fluids, and I know that because when I pee it's kind of dark and I'm feeling thirsty and whatever. So I thought maybe that was it, you know what I mean? But then like I'd spent like all of Sunday trying to rehydrate, and even before I had these symptoms, I was trying to drink more water and stuff. And so like by Sunday evening, I was like feeling a little bit better. Like if I laid down or stood up too fast or moved a certain way too quickly, I would get the kind of like the vertigo and all that. So then I had to call into work on Monday because I still was like, it's not safe for me to go in and do what I do and not be steady. Like it's not safe. I'm like, maybe it's like an inner ear thing. I'm like, but I don't have any pain. Like I had nothing going on that would indicate that there was anything wrong with me. And so Monday I stayed home. By the afternoon I was like, I'm gonna have to go see somebody. Like hydration is not, like it's kind of helping, but it's really not fixing the problem. So I went to a doctor. He looked at my ears and he was asking me these questions like, have you been having headaches? I'm like, actually yeah, like on Sunday, while all this major vertigo was even starting, I was having a very bad headache. But I thought again, maybe it was dehydration, maybe it was like travel fatigue, maybe it was, whatever, like travel and life fatigue. I don't fucking know, because like, have you been feeling very fatigued and like tired? And I'm like, well, yeah, but like that's just life, right? That's just life as a person, and you're like early to mid 40s is just be chronically tired, right? That's just like a badge that you get like at that age, you know what I mean? And he looked in my ears and he goes, yeah, you got a lot of bubbles. And I'm like, bubbles? What are you talking about? I've never heard of having bubbles in my ear. And he's like, I'll explain in a minute. And he looked up my nose and he's like, yeah, he goes, have you been feeling congested? And I'm like, no, not really, which is not untrue, but it's like sometimes we ignore our bodies so often, especially people that have had trauma. Like, there's some weird thing that happens that I don't even think is conscious most times. It's like this kind of like push through, like mentality, sort of, maybe, I don't know, or like maybe it's just like a neglectful, maybe it's not a push through, maybe it's like a neglectful, right? Like, oh, I have this problem, but I don't got time, whatever, blah, 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 push through, like, I don't got, I can't fix it, or I don't know the solution, or whatever, you know what I mean? And I'm not typically fond of doctors, but like, when I'm having a serious issue like that, I'm not going to just be like, I'm just going to wait till I pass out, or I'm going to wait until maybe it eventually gets better, or, you know what I mean? I'm not doing any of that. And so basically I had some silent sinus infection. I had nothing I've been taking Claritin for allergies, because I get allergies real bad, seasonal allergies real bad. And I've been doing all that. This is making me very nervous. There's a guy towing a car, and it's like, I trust him, but it's just, I don't know. I've seen too many horror things, you know. Final destination. So anyway, he told me I had a sinus infection. He goes, when you look down, he goes, do you feel like you have a lot of pressure? And I was like, no, not really. Like, I wasn't really having the pressure pains. I was definitely having like sinus headachy that I didn't really relate to sinus headache, like, a few days in the week prior to having this diagnosis. And he goes, when you look down, do you feel the heaviness in your face? And I looked down and I said, yeah, kind of actually. And then when I did this, sitting on that stupid little bed with the paper on it, I go, oh, like, there it goes again. Like, I lifted my head too fast. Like, so it was not a fun time. But I am much better. I'm on the mend. I'm still taking medication. I'm still kind of tired, but I'm finding that I have more energy than I've had in several weeks, which is nice. And knock on wood, I don't want to jinx it. And so also when you go to the doctor, and this is something that I talked about, I don't know if I've talked about it here on this channel yet, but I definitely was talking about it when I was doing this sort of channel on Facebook, talking about knowing that I need to focus on my health and like my weight and things like that. And I've fluctuated a lot. Like, there was a time when I weighed like 115 pounds, you know what I mean? Like, I was a little tiny petite thing when I was little. Trauma happened. I don't know if you call it self-soothing, self-nurturing, self-comforting happened with food, obviously, as well as I do believe that my brain was like, people won't do certain things to you if they find you undesirable, right? So I do believe that the body will do that as a defense mechanism. It'll make you gain weight, it'll make you do something, because that's the body's job, is to protect you. The mind, the body, its job is to protect you. Its job is survival above all else. And that's why a lot of people that go through stuff that causes PTSD, a lot of them, not all, but a lot of them, they'll neglect certain parts because they're in a survival mode elsewhere. They'll neglect certain things because they're in a survival mode elsewhere. And so I know that's where all mine comes from. And, I have gotten to points in my life where I'm like, all right, I'm getting serious. And there's been a lot of life changes in my life too over the past couple of years. I went through a breakup from a long-term relationship. And I've had a lot of stress. Like, I've had stress with work, I've had stress with moving, I've had all these things going on. And I was on a healthier trajectory when all this stuff happened. and it just kind of derailed me. And I'm kind of one of those people where if I miss it, like if I say I'm gonna do something and I'm gonna do it every day, like yoga is a good example, or hip opening exercises that I was doing for a while, which were very actually helpful with mobility and stuff like that, and like eating healthy and like walking and whatever, right? So like I'm like one of those people, I'm like a real strong starter, but if something derails me, I have a hard time getting back on the horse. You know what I mean? That's just me. It's a character flaw that I have that I'm gonna have to work on and figure out and push through and persevere and yada yada, etc. But you know, when you go to the doctor, and I see myself on the camera, I see myself in my videos, I personally feel it's not that flattering, but I've also done a lot of work to learn to love myself. So I don't judge myself harshly. You know what I mean? Does it cause uncomfortableness within me to see myself on camera? Yeah, it does. I'm gonna be honest. Could anybody come in the comments and try to fucking bully me about it and it's gonna affect me? No, because nobody's gonna be a worse enemy to me than I've been to myself my entire life until I learned self-love, giving myself grace and all that. And that's the main reason why I even get out here and do this and put out content. So yeah, you go to the doctor and they make you get on the scale, and I saw that number and I about fell out, and I was like, oh hell no, because I know before I had this major life change that I was on a weight loss path. Like my weight was declining, I was feeling better, you know. I had some problems, like I had a foot problem, and so those things can kind of get in the way too, and you know what I mean. But I think all of that tends to be going back to the trauma. The body keeps the score. Like I feel like everything that's like wrong with my body comes from trauma. You know what I mean? And like while I can do the things, like yeah, can I eat like a rabbit? Can I walk like a crackhead? Can I, you know, yeah, I can do all those things. But there's something deeper within me that I need to resolve that I clearly haven't quite yet figured out what that is or how to resolve it. And that's what I need to really focus on to be able to not let life get in the way, not allow that to be the reason why I stop picking me and taking care of myself, and we're stopping abruptly. So I need a moment I need to make sure the people behind me are aware, so that if I need a dip, I can dip. Even though there's absolutely no shoulder right here right now. So anyway, like I was not pleased with what I saw, and I'm like, no, we're not. Like the whole point of like part of the problem that I was struggling with previously was that I wasn't taking care of myself, and that I was being around people. Like I've seen my aunt struggle, I've seen other people struggle. I'm getting older, I'm not getting younger, you know what I mean? And I'm running out of time to reverse any damage that I've done or that's been done because of my coping mechanisms or whatever the fuck, right? So those are things that I definitely want to focus on. So we'll see how that goes. Like I was going to do the carnivore thing, and it's one of those things that's like hard to stick to, because you know, when you're trying to like feed other people, it's hard to force them into your diet, and then, you know what I mean? So I have to try to, for a while I was doing more of like a Whole30 approach, and I think that's really the better way to go about it. I don't know, like it's like, you know, life is not one size fits all. So I don't know, I'm just gonna kind of play around. I'm gonna kind of go back to the basics. Like for a while there I was doing like intermittent fasting, and I was doing all these things and drinking tons more water than I've been drinking lately, and I got a little bit hooked on a delicious coffee at this place called Dutch Bros, and while the calories are not as high as some others, the sugar is probably definitely not great. But, and I do think that sugar contributes to like pain within the body, because I've also noticed since I've switched my drink and I've gone like to a sugar-free version the past, you know, week or so, since I went to the doctor, basically. Like, I went to the doctor and I let go of my favorite drink, and I've been in the search of my new flavor. So like, I'll go and I'll get like 2 smalls and sample different ones and try to find the one that I like, you know, because normally I'll get a large because that's what I do. But anyway, so just kind of giving an update of like where I've been, kind of what's going on, touching on some of the things that I know are true of the struggle of healing. I'm running out of time here, so I'm trying to kind of weave in something that I feel is worth mentioning. I was talking to a friend yesterday and, you know, talking about avoidance, you know, like we have avoidance to do things, and, you know, I'm sitting here saying, like, clearly there's some trauma within me that's still in the way, it's still being a roadblock, whatever, you know what I mean? And, so I do think that for me there is some avoidance there, because it is hard to go into those pockets of memory and pockets of time where life was not so easy and you didn't even have the basic necessities for understanding what you were experiencing, or how to even verbalize maybe what that all made you. I don't even know as an adult today that without the help of therapy and them kind of guiding me with fucking words of emotions, like an emotion chart wheel thing, how some of those things feel and felt and what it was really like, you know what I mean? And that was something that we had talked about, because I was like, it's hard to do therapy as an adult, because when you decide that you're going to heal the parts of you that I won't say are necessarily broken, but you feel broken, right? You feel broken, but it's healing the parts of you that are wounded. And sometimes to do that work is very non-linear, you know what I mean? Like, you could go into therapy and they can bring it up out of you, and you can go through the feeling of it, but it's like once you've kind of touched on it again, it's more present in your awareness, and you can just be going through your everyday fucking day trying to do your fucking job, and all of a sudden the wave of emotion will hit you and your brain will start thinking, and you'll start trying to stop it, you'll start trying to avoid going into it, because like society doesn't allow us the space, in my opinion. Society doesn't allow us the space to work on healing the hurts that society has helped create to begin with, in my opinion. If we lived in a better, healthier society where people really had true value just for existing, their value wasn't because they exist, not because what necessarily they bring to the table, but because they're a living, breathing human being, the world wouldn't be so fucked up. You know what I mean? In my opinion. That's my opinion. You know, like, I think there's a big flaw with the whole, like, that everybody needs to be treated the same and fairly and whatever. I tried my favorite drink as a sugar-free. I'm not really feeling it, but it's protein, so it will hold me through the day, and then I'll eat dinner, because that's what I've been doing this week. I've been doing like little protein coffees, even though it's not intermittent fasting, because sometimes intermittent fasting is hard when you're starting off again, and like I'll start to sweat and like be shaky if I hit like a blood sugar drop or whatever. I ain't trying to have all that while I'm trying to work. But yeah, I really don't think that society affords much kindness to people, and I know that seems ironic after some of the videos that I've made about having very strong stances on, or opinions about things. Like my last video that I did, I know I kind of touched on the whole EBT issue, and honestly, like, here's my thing, right, on stuff like that too. This is kind of like off topic, but like we'll see if it circles back around. I'm just going with it. I'm going with whatever comes up as it comes up, and hopefully it reconnects and fucking makes a circuit and makes fucking sense. Okay. So here's what I noticed. Like, even in where I live, there's a lady in the neighborhood, and she's like, hey, I want to create like a neighborhood pantry for people who are struggling. You know, like, nobody, here's the thing, like, everybody wants to act like we're all lacking sympathy and empathy for other people, and that's not it. I don't believe the majority of humanity wants to see anybody suffer. Are there people that are out there for destruction and chaos and watching people suffer and struggle in the world burn? Absolutely. But I think the majority of people are inherently, innately good. I do believe that. And I see it as evidence, like, every day. I see evidence of it every day. More than I see evidence of the world being evil and completely pointless and all that. Okay? So, that being said, so, like, that's the thing. Like, I think people are freaking out and acting crazy, allegedly. I don't know. I haven't really seen any rioting happening. I haven't seen any of all that say it with your chest. I haven't seen none of that happening. All that shit that people were out here huffing and puffing and saying shit with their chest. I ain't seen none of it come to fruition. Knock on wood. I ain't seen none of it come to fruition. But what I do see happening is people wanting to still help, because nobody wants to see people suffer. Nobody actually wants to see people suffer, but people also don't want to be out here in the struggle too, and watching people just get a handout. And I'm not saying there aren't cases where people really can't work. You know what I mean? Does having kids make it hard to have a job? I'm sure it does. But it's like, people find ways. Do you know what I mean? There's this lady that I follow on, like, Instagram. It's like Mo's Millions or Mo Millions or something like that. And she talks about how she was in jail, and she says, don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't accomplish the things that you want to accomplish, because, you know, crackhead goes out there and they get their rock every day. You know what I'm saying? So it's really about how bad do you want a different life? How bad? Like, that's me too. You know what I mean? I went through a phase where I really felt like I was a long phase. And it was my wounding. Again, going back to society doesn't really allow for us to heal. Like, they come out here and they parade around like mental health and wellness, but what the fuck are they really doing to help with that? You know what I mean? Like, and I know a lot of that is really, it boils down to the individual and their process and their willingness and their availability to handle it's hard work. Healing is hard work. Don't let nobody fucking tell you otherwise. And it's fucking courageous. Don't let anybody tell you fucking otherwise. You can't be no weak bitch out here in this world and heal and live and work. And you gotta have, you are a creature of substance if you are out here doing the damn thing. Okay? And don't let nobody fucking tell you otherwise. On your worst fucking day, you're stronger than probably 100 other fucking people out there. Ain't doing jack shit, fuck all with their life. You know what I mean? No offense to them, but that's their choice and whatever. But so yeah, like, I think that's the main takeaway is, like, there is more goodness in the world than there is badness, but we want to try to make it seem like everybody's out to get us all the time. And again, like, I went through a phase where I was a victim, and in my mind I was a victim, and like the world owed me some justice somehow, and I was too broken to function, which is not untrue. I really struggled a lot. Like, I struggled in school, I struggled with keeping jobs at times, I struggled at, you know, giving things my all, and a lot of that is because I was so emotionally spent. And it's a fair point. I'm not trying to say people aren't struggling. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying there has to come a point in your life where you're willing to step into the unknown discomfort instead of laying with the devil you know that ain't doing you no damn good anyway. You know what I mean? And that's where I had to get to. I had to get to that point where I was like, well, Nicole, you keep saying your life is shit, and it keeps being shit, but you keep doing the same shit. So at some point, when are you going to choose to try to do something different? And that different is probably going to be uncomfortable, and that different is probably going to be scary. But here's also what I do know, that anytime you start a new job, anytime that you are in school and you went to a new grade, even though it was a school you knew, even though it was friends that you knew, or like maybe you transitioned, right? You transitioned from like elementary to like middle, or middle to junior high, or junior high to high school. So you're going into like a whole new ecosystem, right? Everything is scary until it becomes like the norm, the routine. You know what I mean? Every time you start a new job, you feel uncertain, you feel unsure. And then over time, as you show up and you do it, and you learn the ropes, and you only learn by being and doing. You only learn by doing and being. You know what I mean? So, and that, once you do it, you're like, oh, this isn't so bad. It's not so scary after all. Like, it's just because I didn't know. It's because I was uneducated, uninformed. I didn't know how the things worked or ran or whatever. And but you know, you can live in avoidance, and you can live in victimhood and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not out here telling you not to, because I struggle with it too. I struggle with avoidance. I struggle with not wanting, because you feel like, where do I even have the time and space to actually where do I have the time and space to give myself the time and space that I actually do need to process all my grief and let it go, and you know what I mean, so on and so forth. And it's hard, especially like if you have a family, especially if you have relationships, especially if whatever, it can be difficult. But I think what people need to do, instead of constantly coming out in outrage, because that's what benefits the powers that be, I guess, those who are pulling the puppet strings and making the rules and passing the legislation, it benefits them to see us fighting and bickering and tearing each other down and judging. And I don't want to be a part of that. You know what I mean? I want to be part of solutions, not problems. I've had enough problems. I've lived in enough of my problems. It's just not what I want for myself anymore in my life. You know what I mean? And the whole point of this is that hopefully people will see that it doesn't have to be that. And I'm going to end with this real quick. I technically need to wrap this up like post haste. But yesterday I was at work. I had to go grab a few things, and I wanted to make a list because I didn't want to forget. So I went into my notes, and I found some notes from like 2016. And it was like about my previous relationship and a struggle that I had been going through. And like, that was like back when I was still very much, so this is not that long ago, really, if you think about it. Almost 10 years now, but even before I started doing this channel, I was already moving out of that. And I do think I will always maintain, I think the thing that helped me start to move out of that was microdosing psilocybin. Nobody will ever tell me that plant medicine does not have its place. Nobody will ever tell me that plant medicine can't be helpful. Can you abuse it like you can abuse anything else? Yes, everything should be done in moderation. Everything should be done according to your actual needs, not necessarily your desires, right? Like, I should be eating and living according to my needs and not my desires, right? And I wouldn't have got on that scale and like, you know, fucking felt all fucking Acme tune eyes popping out of my skull. Like, are you fucking kidding me? But that's what it's taken for me. Like, seeing myself on camera wasn't enough. Struggling every day is not enough. But going to the doctor and getting on that scale and knowing like it's a legit scale and whatever, I was like, oh hell fuck no. We're gonna have to get back into that changing and focusing on being healthy and whatever. But I was reading this thing, and like, I almost couldn't even barely remember the moment that I was talking about. Like, vaguely I could, like vaguely I had like remembrances, but when I was reading it, I would put in parentheses like, I can feel like I'm spiraling internally, you know what I mean? Like I'm having, all of a sudden my anxiety is like ramping up and I'm struggling and whatever. And like, in those moments, I know I was probably crying and I'm like losing my mind, and I was, you know, going into like the vortex of my doom and my doubt and my sadness and my whatever. And it's funny because like, not that long ago, I was like, I really feel like I'm struggling. No matter how far I come, I still feel like I'm struggling all the fucking time. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like I can't catch a fucking break. And I feel like every time I fix one thing, I find some other fucking thing about me that I need to fucking fix and that I need to fucking work on. And it's tiring and it's exhausting and it's frustrating. And so I have been having those feelings. Like, I remember it wasn't that long ago in one of these videos, I was like, I feel like I might literally be on the verge of a mental breakdown. Like, I literally feel like I could be walking into a mental breakdown any fucking day now. But then when I read that and I saw it wasn't like, oh, I kind of recall this. It was my writing, my feelings, my input. And I'm reading it, and I felt for this, like, I had that feeling of like, oh, like, not poor you, but like, I'm sorry that you were in that struggle. Not poor you, but like, I'm sorry that you were in that struggle. And it helped me see now really how much I have grown, really how much I have changed, really how much I have overcome. Even though the struggle is still there. The struggle will probably be there for the rest of my life, unfortunately. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I have followed my intuition to my one size that fits me, because one size does not fit all. Okay, life is not one size fits all. You have your own specific fit. You have your own specific whatever. And the only way you're going to find your specific fit is by following your intuition and tuning out this bullshit that even I've been guilty of becoming involved in, as much as I try hard not to. I know sometimes it is hard to not become involved. It's hard to not let the outside world forced into your inner being, the agendas and things that they want you to worry about, that they want you freaking out about, because your greatest strength and your greatest power is how well you manage all of this and what you do with all of this. And that's the purpose of why I even do these videos. It's not to create more contention. It's not to create division. It's not to shame anybody. It's not to, I'm going to speak my opinions honestly. I'm going to show up the way that I feel called to show up and the way that I feel fit to show up. And if you don't like it, that's cool. I always say I reserve the right to change my mind at any time. And people reserve the right to change their mind about me anytime. You know what I mean? Like, there may be people that don't appreciate some of my last videos where I maybe am being a little bit more divisive because I'm stating an opinion. But I'm trying to state it from a place of, like, thought. Not just like, well, I feel like that's because, and like not trying to shame people. I don't want to see people. I don't think that government assistance is giving people I don't think any assistance is a handout. I think anytime that you give somebody a handout, it's a disservice. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that sometimes people don't need help. I'm saying that help is meant to get you through, not to carry you your whole life. Help is meant to get you on your feet, not to let you stay down. And what kind of fucking system allows its people to stay the fuck down and keep them in a place where we're at anyway? Do you know what I mean? So it's not that I don't feel for people, but we gotta call a spade sometimes, and we gotta look at the fucking facts. If the government really wanted to fucking help people, they would be teaching people how to get up on their feet. But they don't want to see an empowered, united body. They don't want that. That is in their most disinterest. So it makes sense that things be playing out the way that they're playing out. And so you have to decide, those of you who are watching this, you viewers, whoever you are, I appreciate you all. Whether you like me, you don't like me, I appreciate you, okay? We have to decide, are we going to cave in and fall in line unknowingly to what benefits them, or are we going to take our fucking power back and rise as fucking one and make shit the way that it should be? Because only we have the power. And if you don't believe that, I invite you to look at Australia about their digital ID thing. On the 11th, they're going to be doing they're basically doing like a boycott, like a, I don't think they're calling it a boycott. They're calling it something else, and the word is escaping me right now. A strike. So they're not going to be getting online for 11 days starting on November 11th. They're not going to be, a lot of people are doing this in Australia. And apparently there's a significant event that happened 11/11/11 in Australia, and I don't know what it is, so forgive me. I haven't had time to really look into it. I've been sick. I've been dealing with vertigo, trying to work still. I've been busy, okay? But I would advise anybody to look into this, and this is what I'm talking about. So we're so upset about calling each other names and being divided about this shit that we're not even paying attention to the bigger problem. Like, y'all think life is difficult now because they're giving you a handout that they're threatening to take away. What are you going to do when they literally make it where you cannot do anything without their say? Oh, your carbon footprint's too high this week. You've traveled too much. You can't get gas. And y'all think this is going to happen. Like, y'all are like, oh, conspiracy theory, conspiracy theory. Well, I'm sorry, but the conspiracy theorists are fucking getting all the tally marks right now. I don't know if you noticed. Have you seen a single fucking chemtrail in the sky since the government shutdown? And so I've actually even been wondering too myself, is part of why I'm feeling better, because there ain't no fucking chemtrails in the sky. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, okay? I'm an absurdist, okay? I'm a keep it realist. I don't know, but I'm open to hearing everything and keeping a file on that shit. So that when I need to go back and be like, actually here it does say this, and actually here it does say this. You know what I mean? I don't try to shut anything out. I try to be open to everything, because that's the only way you're going to find the truth. And without being open to everything, you know, every possibility, you limit your intuition's ability, in my opinion. And the intuition is the most important thing. Please, 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 if you take nothing fucking else away, if you take nothing fucking else away from my videos, please understand the importance of your intuition, your inner guidance, your inner compass, and work on strengthening that. And if you want help strengthening that, okay, if you want to hear about how I've worked on that and all that, drop a comment and be like, hey, yeah, let's talk about intuition. Let's talk about how do we strengthen that. If you would like for me, maybe I'll start focusing on some of that stuff and trying to be more meaningful and mindful with my platform. And you know what I mean, the responsibility that I have just out here fucking speaking openly into the void. So just these are the kind of things I want you to think about. So look into Australian digital ID, look into fucking UK and digital ID. They are protesting like a motherfucker. And if you think that these people do not have the power to make them backstep that shit and scrap it off the table altogether, and here's the thing, okay, it's not about life's convenience, it's not about protecting you, it's about this is the one thing that if you take nothing else away from the digital ID concept, okay, I need you to take this away from the digital ID. What government in this world do you trust with absolute power? What government in this world do you trust with absolute power? Become self-governed. Become empowered. And if you can't stand nobody fuck else today, please stand yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Be loving with yourself. Give yourself some grace. The world is a crazy place. Okay? Take a deep breath. Focus on one moment at a time. Okay? Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about, trust me, things always fucking work out. Things always, look at your life. Look, oh, I went through this struggle, but something always worked out. Something always worked out. Something will always pan out. No matter what. It may not be the ideal thing that you want, but you will be provided for in some way or another. You just have to have that faith, and you have to try to be positive and have gratitude. And I know that's hard, and that's what they want. They don't want you to be positive. They don't want you to have gratitude. They want you to think the world is shit, and it is not. It is not. There is goodness in the world, and you are it. So be it. Love you. Bye.